There is a specific moment in life that doesn't look like a breakdown. It doesn't look like screaming. It doesn't look like sobbing on the bathroom floor. It looks like nothing. No tears, no panic, no visible pain, just a silence. A heavy, static silence that hums in the background of your chest where your feelings used to live. You wake up and the world looks gray. Not sad, sadness would be a feeling. Not terrible, terror would be a feeling. Just muted. Coffee tastes the same. Music doesn't hit the way it used to. And laughter feels like something you are watching through a thick pane of glass. You tell yourself you're fine because technically you are. You are functioning, you are showing up to work. You are smiling when the social script tells you to smile. But somewhere deep down, you know something has gone missing. That is what emotional numbness feels like. It is not the presence of sadness. It is the absence of everything. Psychologists describe emotional numbness as a defense mechanism, specifically a form of dissociation. It is a biological shutdown that happens when the system is overloaded. Think of your nervous system like the electrical wiring of a house. When a power surge hits, when there is too much voltage running through the lines, the circuit breaker trips. The power cuts off, not to punish the house, but to save it from burning down. Your brain does the exact same thing. When you have been hurt too many times, felt too deeply, or held too much responsibility for too long, your brain decides that feeling is too expensive. It decides that caring is a liability. So it flips the switch. It turns down the volume on your life. And yet the cruel irony of this defense is that the protection eventually becomes a prison. Because you cannot selectively numb your emotions. You cannot numb pain without also numbing joy. You cannot block out heartbreak without also blocking out love. The wall you built to stop the storms also blocks the sunlight. I remember reading a comment from someone who described it perfectly. They said, "It's not that I don't want to feel, it's that I forgot how." And that is the hidden tragedy of emotional numbness. It is not the loss of happiness, it is the loss of aliveness. If you are listening to this and nodding your head, feeling like you are existing more than you are living, you are not broken. You are in self-preservation mode. See, the human mind is wired for regulation. It is constantly trying to keep you safe. When stress becomes chronic, when the trauma is ongoing or the pressure never lifts, your brain quietly steps in and detaches. It creates a gap between you and your experience. There's a theory in psychology called emotional blunting. It is often found in people with high-functioning depression or PTSD, and it's deceptive because it's not always visible on the outside. Sometimes the people who are the calmest, the most composed, are the ones who have shut down the hardest. They have learned that emotions make them vulnerable, so they built a fortress. And they have lived in that fortress for so long, they have started mistaking it for peace. But let's be honest, numbness is not peace. It is quiet pain. It is pain that learned to wear a mask. People who have become emotionally numb often don't even realize it creeping in. It happens in degrees. You stop getting excited about the hobby you used to love. You stop crying when you hear bad news. You start saying things like, "I don't care anymore." Not out of apathy, but out of exhaustion. Underneath that numbness is usually a story of overextension. It is the story of the mother who kept the family together for 10 years. It is the story of the man who was taught that boys don't cry until he lost the ability to connect with his own wife. It is the story of the child who grew up in a chaotic home and learned that having feelings only led to punishment. Eventually, the body learns a cruel lesson. If feeling equals danger, then not feeling equals safety. But here is where psychology meets hope. Neuroscience tells us that the brain is plastic. It is malleable. The same brain that learned to shut down can learn to open up again. Emotional numbness is not a life sentence. It is a temporary pause. But, and this is the hard part, thawing out hurts. Reawakening your emotions after a long period of numbness feels like blood rushing back into a limb that has been asleep. It tingles. It aches. When you start to feel again, you won't just feel the good stuff. You will feel the backlog of grief you didn't process 3 years ago. You will feel the anger you swallowed to keep the peace. And that terrifies people. So they run back to the numbness. But you have to stay with it. You have to face the uncomfortable truth that emotional numbness is not the absence of emotion. It is the suppression of it. And everything suppressed eventually surfaces. Research shows that people who describe themselves as emotionally numb often score incredibly high in empathy once they reconnect. They aren't cold people. They are highly sensitive souls who went into hiding. They were the ones who noticed everything, who felt every shift in the room, who absorbed other people's pain like a sponge. They were built to connect, but connection became the source of their pain. So they shut the door, not forever, just until it felt safe to open it again. But time alone doesn't heal numbness, because numbness isn't time-based, it is trust-based. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly feel again. You rebuild safety, moment by moment, until your heart finally believes that it is okay to come out of the bunker. That is what most people misunderstand. They try to force themselves to feel. They watch sad movies trying to cry. But you cannot force a flower to bloom by pulling on the petals. You can only water the soil. So how do you water the soil? You start small. You relearn safety. Numbness melts in the presence of safety. Not pressure, not confrontation, just gentle, consistent safety. It starts with noticing the texture of life again, the warmth of the sun on your arm, the taste of your morning coffee, really tasting it, not just drinking it, the sound of the wind in the trees. These are sensory anchors. They tell your amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, that there is no tiger in the room, that you are here, that you are safe. You stop judging yourself for not feeling enough. You give yourself permission to be exactly where you are. If you feel 5% of an emotion, honor that 5%. Don't demand 100%. Sometimes people think numbness fades when life finally gets better, when the chaos ends, when the job stabilizes. But that's not how it works, because numbness doesn't come from the chaos itself. It comes from the aftermath. It's not the storm that silences you. It's the quiet after the storm. When you look around and realize everything has changed, and somehow, so have you. In that silence, your body is still scanning for danger. But one day, if you keep showing up for yourself gently, something will shift. You will catch yourself laughing, a real, unforced laugh, and it will surprise you. You will hear a song and feel a lump in your throat, and instead of pushing it down, you will let it be there. And in that moment, you will realize that the numbness didn't disappear, you outgrew it. You stopped needing the armor because you became strong enough to handle the vulnerability. So if you have been living in the gray for a while, please hear this. You are not heartless. You are not broken. You are a survivor who is still wearing the heavy coat of winter, even though spring is starting to break through. You don't have to take the coat off all at once, just unbutton it. Let a little light in. Let a little air in. Your feelings are still there. They didn't leave you. They are just waiting for you to tell them it's safe to come home. And when they do, it won't be overwhelming. It will feel like taking a deep breath after holding it for years. It will feel like waking up.